Hi, my name is Cynthia England. I'm here at the Paducah Fall Show, and I'm so excited to have an exhibit of my quilts here. My big quilts are all hanging together, and I've never had that before. Let me show you some of them. This is my favorite quilt I've ever made. It was really fun to make. It was a gift from my daughter-in-law named Amanda, and my daughter Monica and I made this in a month. It's mainly machine appliqued. I painted some of the fabric and then fused it on and then appliqued it. And here's some of the little highlights that you might not know. I have glow-in-the-dark paint that I did the little Marauders map on the border, so it shows up. And I went to their Facebook page and I took photographs from my daughter-in-law's Halloween parties and things. So this is my daughter-in-law and my son. And this is, so you can steal pictures from your kids' Facebook page and put them in quilts, which makes it fun. This is the howler that was in the show and the movie. And then I got a snake that comes down here, and it was just really fun. This quilt is called Peace and Quiet. It's the very first quilt that I ever made using the picture piecing technique that I've developed over the years. This one won Best of Show in Houston the year before they gave any money away, so it was a while ago, but it was also chosen as one of the 100 best quilts of the 20th century. There's a little deer that's hidden here in the quilt, and this is a printed fabric that I just planned where I was going to put it. There's also a wolf right here in the quilt. My kids were into Where's Waldo when I made this, and I was in the dentist office a lot when I was a kid, and I looked at those highlight magazines. So I like to put little fun things in my quilts. This is the oldest quilt I have in the exhibit, one of my very first ones that are pictorial quilts. I do traditional quilts also, besides these artsy-fartsy quilts. This quilt is all hand quilted. I learned the technique that I used on this part of the quilt. I made that black and white tile floor, and I made a mistake, and it went together so easy. I thought, I'm going to do that on my next quilt exclusively, and that's when I did the Peace and Quiet quilt. All of these little circles are yo-yos, just turned to the back side and then appliqued on. There's a couple of little frames on this table, and what that is, I had a fabric that had ladies' faces printed on it, and I made the frames to go around the ladies' faces. This quilt is called Open Season. This quilt won Best of Show in Houston in 2000. And it has a couple of fun things about it. It has some fabric that is some Halloween fabric that when you cut it up just big enough, it has these screaming faces in it. And I really like putting weird stuff in there because when you die, you can mess with your relatives after you're dead. It's just a way to, you know, like Grandma, she wasn't like an old woman all the time. This quilt has about 23,000 pieces in it. It took me 6 years to finish it. Probably has a year and a half's worth of work in it. This quilt is called Reflections of Cape Town, and this quilt has about 8,500 pieces in it. It took me 1 year to make it. It's from a photograph I took in Cape Town at Haut Bay, H-A-U-T Bay. It was really fun because it had a lot of bright colors, and there's a lot of glitter thread from the water down. If the light was hitting it just right, there's some really glitzy thread in it, and it was fun to make because it was so bright. And this quilt is called One Fine Day. This was at Lake Tahoe. If you go to Lake Tahoe and you take a restroom at the restroom stop and you walk right down from the restroom, this is what you'll see, this gorgeous picture. And I took the picture and I had to make a quilt out of it. One thing about this one is I have a fly in the, I have a fabric that had house flies on it, and it's right down here. And this quilt took about 8 months to make. Well, I hope you've enjoyed looking at my quilts. Thanks so much for looking at my quilts. Come to another AQS show, and I'll see you there.